What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we have made it to the finish line. We are here to talk about Dexter Resurrection episode 10, titled And Justice for All. So we are not going to waste any time. We're just going to jump right into it. So spoilers, spoiler alert, spoiler warning. We are talking spoilers. So if you have not seen the final episode of Dexter Resurrection, I suggest you pause this, stop this, go watch it, come back, and then finish it out. And then also make sure to drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought, not just of episode 10, but what you thought of the overall series, if you've been watching it thus far with us. I know some people were waiting for all 10 episodes to drop, and then they were going to binge watch it. We've been, as you know, doing a week-by-week view and then summary of where we feel it's at. So, again, we're just going to jump right into the details. So, I've made no bones about it. I thought there have been some entertaining moments. There have been some entertaining, a couple episodes. For the vast majority of the episodes of the 10, I don't think they were as cinematic. I don't think they were as groundbreaking. I don't think they were as just absolutely perfect and spotless like so many people are claiming this first, I believe is going to be a first season, has been for Dexter Resurrection. I still think the original series, excluding the last 2 seasons or so, still far outweigh this one. Now, it could have just been the fact that it's a point in time perspective, right? I mean, Dexter, the character of the series has been around for quite some time, and we've been down the road of New Blood, which many people didn't like. I was one of those people. Didn't like the way they ended it. I think many people didn't like the way they even ended the original series, which is why they attempted to do New Blood. They still botched how they ended it there. We then went on a hiatus, and then we got Dexter Original Sin, the prequel series, and we knew when that one was coming out, and even when it launched, that we were eventually going to get Dexter Resurrection in an attempt to right the wrongs of those failed endings. So episode 10, again titled Injustice for All, brings us right where we leave off in episode 9. Dexter is trapped in the vault, in Prater's vault, while the gala, the police ball gala, whatever you want to call it, is happening upstairs. So not only do we have Batista's body laying within the vault, Dexter's in the vault, Charlie is wounded, and now Prater has to get up to his party. So one thing, as now the episode goes into place, right? So now we're really focusing on Dexter, and we see the breakdown of Prater and Charlie's relationship happen very quickly here. Tells her, hey, you need go fix yourself up, go dress your wound, because you need to do your job, right? And that's to continue to protect me. Now, of course, he doesn't realize that I think once we saw Dexter go after Charlie and find out about her mom, I think that was the turning point where we knew that there was going to be a pivotal moment when Charlie was like, screw this, I'm out, right? And that's where we find, and it happens in this episode. After they have Prater and Charlie have that brief conversation, we're pretty much focusing on Dexter. How is Dexter going to get out of this vault? And what I find kind of odd, and I don't think would remotely happen, I think it was kind of even dumb, was the fact that he's able to contact Harrison using Batista's cell phone. It only had 5% battery life, but still, the fact that they would have brought the cell phone in there, not knowing how Dexter was going to react when Prater offered to be his benefactor and to kill Batista to seal the deal. They were putting so much trust in the fact that Dexter was going to say yes, that they just said, hey, we'll bring in the cell phone in here, no big deal, and leave it there with Batista's stuff. But that's how Dexter's able to reach the outside world. Now, the fact that he would even have a strong enough signal down in the wine cellar in this vault that has I think he said it was limestone. I remember how thick he said the walls were, but I don't know if he would necessarily have a signal down there, but apparently he has no problems with that. So Dexter, and then we get the last, I think, spoiler, not reveal, but previous character. Brian Moser shows back up, and he starts taunting Dexter a bit. Pretty much saying, "Hey, you chose everyone else over me. If you would have chose me, you probably wouldn't be in this situation." So we do get to see Brian Moser pop up just for a brief moment. But ultimately, Dexter gets a hold of Harrison and lets him know where he's at. So Harrison manages to contact one of his friends, and because one of his friends previously offered him to say, "Hey, you want to work the gala as like a server, or as like help, so to speak." And so he contacts that friend, and manages to get on the serving staff for the gala in order to save Dexter. Now, while Dexter's in there, he's trying to figure out what the vault code is going to be. So he's going through various things, and he comes across these filing cabinets where he finds files for not just the serial killers we saw in this season, but also other serial killers that are just out there and about in the world that Prater had files on. And we also come across the fact that he has a file on Charlie, and where he's been keeping tabs on her, following her, pretty much to use at his disposal if he ever needed to against Charlie. So that's pivotal, because what ends up happening is, as we go on through this episode, Harrison eventually shows up, gets down into the vault, and before he gets to Dexter, Charlie finds him, holds him at gunpoint, and then gets on the cell phone with Dexter. Dexter's trying to convince her, "Hey, let me out. You'll never see me and my son again." But then this is where he discloses to Charlie, "Hey, he's got a file on you too, and X, Y, and Z," which then now seals the deal that she's now out for herself. She confronts Prater, lets him know, "Hey, I know you have a file on me, X, Y, and Z," and that's the end of that. So prior to getting to that, though, we get the code. Dexter manages to figure out what the code is for the vault, relays it to Harrison, and it came down to two codes. One, the anniversary of Prater's parents' death, or the inmate number for the individual who caused the death. So Dexter originally gives him the anniversary date, but then at the last second sees this other, through this glass case, these letters that were written, and then he realizes, wait a minute, it actually could be this code. So it was a coin flip, and of course it wouldn't make sense for them to have it fail, so they managed to get Dexter out, while Harrison then tries to escape, and they split up. Prater realizes that, and he sees that Harrison's there, eventually tracks him down in some the back hallways throughout the building, and holds him at gunpoint, gets him back down to the wine cellar. And as Dexter's outside getting ready to escape, gets a phone call saying, "Hey, you need to come back." Goes back down there, and then offers himself as a sacrifice. Say, "Shoot me instead of Harrison, let him go." Now this is where things take I think an expected turn. I think we all saw this coming. Harrison, if you remember in a previous episode, was given protection, and we all assumed it was something else because he was going to stay with his girlfriend. But in fact, we find out that protection was a syringe with the M99 in it. He happens to pull it out, jabs Prater with it. Prater passes out, and now he tells Harrison, "Get out." Dexter stays behind and gets Prater on the table, or the table that was in the room, which was the same table that Brian Moser was killed on. So he gets some saran wrap to that. And this is where we have the traditional back and forth between Dexter and his soon-to-be victim. And for a brief moment, Prater thinks he's going to be let go, because Dexter lets him know he's not going to be a blood slide in his little box. He's not going to be one of his trophies. So Prater thinks, "Oh, you're going to let me go." And Dexter's like, "No, you're just not worth remembering." And then takes him out, stabs him in the chest, and then that's the end of Prater, which I thought. I guess part of me assumed, okay, they're going to take him out like any traditional Dexter season. You have the main protagonist throughout the entire season, and then he ends up being taken out at the end. But part of me thought maybe this, because he has so many lines to other serial killers, that maybe he'll somehow escape or something will happen where it will carry over into like midway through the second season. Because I mean, it's just a matter of time before they announce a second season. So as he takes him out, and we don't see the dismemberment of the body, but it does happen because we see all the trash bags. So one of the things that Dexter not only takes with the trash bags, but he also takes some of the various files with him. And we see a point where later on in the episode, Dexter is kind of thumbing through the files where we see like the various names. And these are all serial killers that we now assume he'll be tracking down in season 2. But one of the last ones he thumbs through, one of the last names we see is Al. And we don't see the full name, but we can make a very good assumption that this is the same Al that's been in the show throughout this whole point. So that it was Al Walker is his full name. Serial killer name was Rapunzel. He was played by Eric Stonestreet. He was he was the last surviving one from the dinner party that Dexter tried to kill after he went and saw that Broadway musical, but he decided to leave early. So Dexter never got to him. He managed to escape Dexter's table. So I imagine he might be one of the first ones we see in season 2 that Dexter tracks down. Because I don't see this second season taking place in New York. It might be like one of those traveling things where Dexter either starts tracking down serial killers and takes them out in like their own cities, so to speak. So we see that happen, and then Dexter sets off the alarm for the vault, getting all various police officers of security rushing down to the vault, and now everyone now sees Prater's trophy room. They find Batista's body. And the two detectives that we've seen thus far throughout this whole thing, they they see the New York Ripper's tool on the wall, and then they see some of the files laying on the ground. And then that's where they see the file and the name for the New York Ripper, which the name turns out to be Don Frampt. It was spelled weird. It was spelled F-R-A-M-T. I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but now the two detectives have the name of the New York Ripper. So I imagine that might be a sub-story that we're going to see play out in the second season. Or who knows, maybe the New York Ripper could be the primary protagonist in the second season. We don't know how this is going to go. But they answered a lot of things. One, Prater wasn't the New York Ripper. Blessing could still be the New York Ripper, that could be a different name he went by or is going by, and Blessing is just the name we've seen him. So we don't know if it's potentially someone we've already seen in this season. We don't know if it's someone completely new that we haven't seen. So it's not Prater, but it still could be the detective, and it still could be Blessing. So we don't know if it's going to be one or two. So the detective is Melvin Olivia. He was the primary detective with Claudette Wallace. So it still could be one of those two. Don't know. Or again, it could just be someone brand new. So yeah, and then we see Dexter, taking Prater's yacht. I think it was called the Getaway. It was kind of a unique, ironic name. And Dexter throws Prater's body overboard in the bags, and we get more of a talk over from Dexter sailing off on this yacht. And of course, you can't imagine he's going to keep that yacht forever, because the police now have a body, which is Batista's body. They have this trophy room, and now Prater is missing. So it's not like they're going to be like, oh, where did his yacht go? Oh, Dexter's using it. That's going to be kind of suspicious. Now, as far as this episode, I think this episode ended in a way maybe as expected. I think the only thing I imagine many people were hoping is we would find out who the New York Ripper was. So there weren't really any big cliffhangers that carry us over into a season 2. They could easily say, hey, we're not doing any more. Let's just close it down here. And let's say come back with like an HBO, not HBO, but a Paramount plus Dexter movie, and close out some of these last little things like the New York Ripper story piece and anything else. They could easily do that without doing a second season. So overall, this series of Dexter Resurrection for me, 3.5 3.5. That's the highest I could possibly go. I don't think it was as cinematic and as great as everyone made it out to be, as we were expecting it to be. Again, there were some very much highs. I think the highest point was the Gemini cliffhanger, the fact that we found out it was a twin brother. But I felt that they hurt themselves so badly when they abandoned that story point. They didn't utilize it to the full impact that they could have. So I thought that was a huge miss. I think once that happened, the rest of the episodes following could have played out well. The fact that they let Rapunzel, again, Al, that serial killer, get away, and it was just seemingly like, oh, they just let him walk, like no big deal, don't hear from him again, didn't pop back up. And then Charlie's turn, I think we all expected that to happen, but it was just so simplistic. It was like, okay, she approached Prater, she left the gala, went and got her mom and said, we're going home. And then that was the end of that. So it almost felt like they just closed off a lot of things without seeing them fully through. Otherwise, why bring them up? Why even include them? Because their impacts could have been far greater in the subsequent episodes. I mean, or they could have been utilized a little bit better. So the episode 10, I'd give it a solid 4. Felt very much like Dexter, like a Dexter episode. But the overall series, I gotta go 3.5. It's the best I go. It's pretty mid for me. I expected a lot more. I was hoping for a lot more. It is what it is. Now, whether or not we get a green light for a season 2, we haven't heard anything yet. I mean, of course, hasn't been that long since this last episode. So if we do get a green light for a season 2, I imagine it will come in the coming weeks. I don't think they'd want to sit on this for too long, just from a fan's perspective, for the fact that they disappointed a lot of fans when they canceled season 2 of Original Sin, and the fact that the merger that was, supposedly part of that decision, but they've also kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, we're throwing everything Dexter related behind Dexter Resurrection. So again, I think it's just a matter of time before we hear that they're going to do a season 2. And I think it's going to be a while. I think probably won't be until 2027 that we even see a season 2. I'd be surprised if we get a Resurrection season 2 late 2026. I'd be very surprised if that were to happen. So anyways, that's going to wrap up our Dexter Resurrection series. Again, overall 3.5. Episode 10, I give it a 4, 3.54. But beyond that, pretty mid series for me. I don't think I'll ever come back to this again. If I do, it will just be simply, if they do a season 2, just to refresh my mind on where we left things off. But otherwise, this was like a one and done viewing. This doesn't have much rewatch value for me like the original series did. So anyways, that's going to do it for this update on episode 10. And this is going to close out our Dexter Resurrection series. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the series, about the episode. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.